Hello and welcome to Fantasy Football Weekly episode 4. And this is the video cast where we talk all things FPL. And as I've said previously, if you don't know what FPL means, it's not the channel for you. As you know, co-host Fletchy boy, how you doing, my son?
Hello, I'm doing very well. We've got a timer on here. It's 25 hours. You know, I'm not good at maths, so just say 25 hours till the deadline. I've got a little bit of a bone to pick with you though, to be honest.
Go on.
You've gone and blown our budget already on a special guest, a VIP, without consulting me. What is going on?
£2.50 well spent. And I'd like to introduce YOYO F.C. as a special guest. How are you doing this evening, YOYO?
Hi guys, doing good. It's good to be part of it, and I'd much appreciated those 2 tickets to Barcelona from you for appearing. Yeah, very nice.
We're going to post them after the show, so we'll see how your performance does first. But do you want to give the viewers just an introduction on your FPL history? Some of it being a little bit patchy, if I remember. But if you want to fill people in.
I think patchy's a bit harsh, but been back in the original year of the Elite League, I think, which was 2010, I believe. Been yo-yoing my way up and down the leagues since 2010. Obviously got a slightly more mature view of the football approach, just letting you youngsters know that there was football around in my day. But no, basically, it's part of the Elite League as to why I'm now with the FPL.
Yeah, awesome. I think, this is probably a good opportunity to explain that you are the father of Tomo's Galacticos. And we are fellow addicts. There's running through the Thompson veins. So it's lovely to have you on board. Unfortunately, your football knowledge is not quite up to the level of the junior, although you'd like to think differently, I'm sure. So it'd be interesting to see what you bring to the show tonight on your debut. So let's see how we go. So with no further ado, let's get stuck into some questions. Now, obviously, we had the Charity Shield at the weekend, and we had a viewer's question, which I'd like to have answered by Fletchy to start with, which is the new boy, Kolasinac, who popped up with the header. Does he now look like he's going to be in a lot of sides? Is he in your side? And how do you think his introduction is going to affect the way maybe Arsenal set up? And anything else that you pulled out of the Charity Shield?
Yeah, well, certainly a good question. On the new boy, I'm not going to try and pronounce him, but I was disappointed he didn't start. And then obviously Mertesacker got the injury, and he come on, and my God, he looked very, very impressive. He looked strong as an ox. Obviously, with that Bundesliga, was it most assists for a defender last season?
Most assists, and he was in the Bundesliga Team of the Year. Well, no, most assists for a defender. Most assists for the defender and in Bundesliga Team of the Year.
Right, okay, yeah. Was very, very impressed from the 60 minutes I saw of him. Obviously, took the header very well. Looks like he could nail down that left wing back role. I did say about Monreal possibly playing the left side of the three previously. So at 6 mil, you've got to think he's starting tomorrow night, and he's a real viable option. I was looking at Mustafi back in podcast 1, I think it was, but obviously he's not fit. So if you're looking for some Arsenal cover, he could certainly be the one, couldn't he, right now?
I think with the uncertainty of the way Sanchez has been confirmed out for the first 2 weeks of the season, he's an interesting one because he might be offering, points at both ends potentially. Yo-Yo, what's your thoughts on Sanchez and the fact he's been confirmed out for the first 2 weeks? Will you be making any provisions in your opening squad to bring Sanchez in at a later date, or are you not even thinking about Sanchez at this point?
Yeah, I have to be honest, make the first point. It kind of hurts me that the first thing I've got to do is agree with everything Fletch just said about Arsenal. I totally agree with him. On Sanchez, yeah, I've got to be honest. At this moment in time, for me personally, best left alone. We all know what he can do, and you don't have Sanchez at your peril, really. I believe, but I think until we know exactly what is going on there, I mean, he's at this moment in time got this stomach problem, hasn't he? Apparently. I won't be making provisions for him myself. I actually am going to put my money elsewhere in the midfield. I think there's contenders in the midfield who I think this year could potentially outshine Sanchez anyway. May review that as and when we know what the future of him is, but at this moment in time, no, I'll just be completely disregarding him.
No problem. I think to be honest, I share that view. I mean, I think it's too much money initially to be planning. It's hard enough to pick an opening squad as it is without factoring in how you're going to maneuver £12 million at some point. And I think naturally after game week 2, game week 3, when he's likely to come back, someone will be out of form in your side, someone won't have worked, and someone will be injured or something, and probably something will naturally occur. I don't think it's something to plan for, probably. Also, I think the question mark behind Lacazette might emerge as the absolute standout option at 10-5, and we might not even be that fussed about Sanchez when he comes in initially if Lacazette's offering good value. If Lacazette gets a pen as well in the first 2 game weeks, I think that's an interesting one. Because if he gets a pen, sticks it away, and then holds pens, the appeal of Sanchez drops furthermore. So, there's lots of ifs and buts, but, I'll probably share your view that we won't be maybe planning for Sanchez initially. Talking about Chelsea then, over on the, the other side of that football match. Did it answer any questions? Did anyone stand out to you as basically making it into your opening squads? Pose that one to Yo-Yo. What did you think?
I have to be honest. Prior to the Community Shield, I was penciling in at least 2, potentially 3 Chelsea players. Having watched the performance from them, it completely threw my thinking into disarray. I have to be honest. I think Morata, if that's how it's pronounced, I think for me, I can't see him hitting the ground running. I think he's going to take a long time to adapt to the Premier League. So Costa, we assume, is not going to be there. So I think the options for Chelsea up front for me are very, very limited. So I'll be avoiding them. And like I said, for me, probably the only choice would be Alonso. But at 7 mil, it is a lot of money, isn't it, for a defender? But for me, he's the only one that at this moment in time that I would be putting my money in at Chelsea, because they completely threw me with their performance. I thought it was poor.
Bearing in mind the deadline, as Fletchy said, is basically 24 hours away, is Alonso currently in your side?
I'm currently tinkering. It's either him or Azpilicueta. Yeah, one or the other. Yeah, for me. I just find with Chelsea at the moment, there's a lot of talk as well about there's a lot of unrest in the dressing room, and we all know what that can do to a side. It's like cancer, isn't it? And you can be as good an individual as you want. I think when it comes to, performing as part of a team, if there's a cancer in the dressing room, personally for me, I'd steer clear of it.
I mean, Fletchy, Yo-Yo's just shown himself to be slightly guarded already. I've asked him, is Lonzo in his side? He's been very non-committal, doesn't want to show his cards. But, have you got any insight in terms of maybe nailed on Chelsea or Arsenal players that are currently in your squad before the deadline tomorrow night?
Yeah, just to go on to Chelsea and the Charity Shield, I thought it was a very disappointing performance. Raised more questions than answers, I'd say. I thought Batshuayi, had the chance to really, nail a start for this Saturday. I thought he was really, really poor. I thought William was poor. Obviously, you mentioned Moses last week, but we forgot that he was suspended for the first 2 games because I was impressed by him. But Morata, understand the criticism he got for the 20 minutes he played and obviously the pen miss. But if you look at the chances he had in 20 minutes when he was on, nice bit of movement where Fabregas found him and he fluffed the chance. And he also had the header as well. So the fact he's even getting chances now, a little bit of positivity towards him. I do think he'll start on Saturday, and if you're a bold enough manager, well, he could easily hit a brace for you. But with regards to nailed on people in my side, yeah, Mr. Marcos Alonso is in Fletcher's winner's side. He's been there basically the last 2 weeks. He was so far forward in that Charity Shield game at 7 mil. I think he's a must.
He's currently in my side also. I just wanted to add to what you just said there, Fletch, because I think it's a really good point. And what you said, Yo-Yo, about how poor in parts Chelsea looked, or not necessarily poor, but just they didn't look fluid. They didn't look fluid. They didn't look like they were going to score a bag load of goals, and no individual stood out. Any more than probably any other. Moses, I thought, had a good game, but like you say, Fletch, he's out. Alonso, I think, offers that security, doesn't he? Where, okay, if he's not giving you attacking returns, at least you still got a good chance at the clean sheet. So I think going with an Alonso at 7 mil makes much more sense than punting for a Willian, a Fabregas, a Pedro, a Morata, which could easily flop on their arse, and then you're struggling after game week 2 with someone in your side that's just not producing.
I think just another note on Alonso. For me personally, obviously at the price, you just play him everywhere, every single week, and he's basically in for the season. I know it's hard to sort of say that, but you know what I mean. At the price, you just got to play him everywhere. I know we've got Spurs away coming up, but you just play him there, don't you? You don't rotate him.
For me, I mean, I'll clarify. Yeah, it literally is. It's not that I'm being guarded over Alonso. It literally is a flick of a coin. I've got the money needed if I want Alonso, but it's a flick of a coin between him and Azpilicueta for me. And I genuinely haven't made up my mind. So
right. if you want to be guarded, you don't need to justify yourself. It's fine. It's whatever approach you want. We understand that. Listen, it's an important season for you, Yo-Yo.
Putting the pressure on.
What's your highest league position finish? Is it second or is it third?
I have finished second and third. Yeah, I should have won it one year, but I had that famous choke in the last.
Should have, could have, would have.
Apparently, yeah, I did. I was top. I was top one year going into the very last game week, and yeah, I had a little bit of a choke and made a bad decision, and consequently came second. So. Yeah, it took a while to live that one down, but I think this year I'm right on top of it this year. And I had a bad start last year, as we know. I was sitting 62nd in our league, but pulled it round. I think I ended 8th in the end. So I'm looking this year a much better early start, and yeah, I'll be okay this year. I definitely see myself top 5 this year.
Okay, someone looking for a good season themselves is Mr. Wayne Rooney, and Craig Saxby asked a question. Basically, can we consider him? He's 7.5 mil. He's been playing up top a little bit in pre-season. He scored a couple of screamers. He's probably going to get a large share of set pieces and possibly pens off of Baines. We just don't know. Either one of you got any views on Rooney?
To be honest, I think for me, I put Rooney in what I call the third striker bracket. And I think for the money he is, there's better players, better value in that bracket. That £7 to £8.5 million bracket. I think there's far better value players going forward than Rooney. Personally,
yeah.
What are the names that spring to your mind?
Well, there's a whole list. I think if you have a look at the 7 million to 8.5 million bracket, I think there's currently 20 players in that £1.5 million bracket. It then jumps from 8.5. There's nothing really until 10 million, and then from 10 million to Kane, who is 12.5, you've only got 7 players to select from. So, if you take 2 from your first out of that top 7, 2 as your main 2 strikers, that gives you an option of 1 from 20 from your third. So there's quite a long list. I quite personally like the look of Iniacho at Leicester as a third striker option.
He'll certainly get goals, won't he? I mean, you just don't know what he's going to offer in terms of much else. He's probably not going to. He's a finisher, isn't he? At the end of the day, he's not going to provide much in the way of assists. I don't think he's been great for bonus points in the past, but you see him just getting a bag full of goals at Leicester, do you?
I just think that with the legwork that Vardy does, I think if he plays Iniacho more central with the leg work that Vardy does, I think he could be in that box, to clean up, quite a bit.
Fletchy, Rooney versus Iheanacho or another in that price bracket. First of all, thoughts on Rooney. Answer Saxby's question.
Don't like him, to be honest. In the pre-season, he's been playing. I see him. He's playing out left. He's playing in the hole a bit as well. But just with those Everton fixtures, maybe one to monitor. But I think he's, an FPL great in the past. But I think his days are numbered for me. Iniacho, I think it's a phenomenal signing by Leicester. I think he's a real talent. My only concern with him would be, obviously in the past, when Okazaki played up top with Vardy, he was pulled off on 65, 70. I know they've got Shakespeare in there now, but if Leicester may be winning 1 or 2-0, is he going to get pulled off on 65, 70? I know if you're paying $7 million, maybe you're not too concerned about that, but that would be a worry because I can't see Vardy getting dragged off.
I think there's 3 other big names I want to chuck into that price bracket. Gabbiadini and Southampton's fixtures are looking strong.
Yeah.
You could argue Austin, but let's go Gabbiadini because he does look like he's got the edge at the moment. Hernandez at West Ham, and then the third name is Andre Gray, who's now got the move to Watford at 6.5. So, both contenders for that, mid-price bracket.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on those 3 guys?
I was looking at the Gray transfer because I'm a big fan of Andre Gray. I wouldn't want him dating my sister, but as a third striker punt. Then
your sister's happily married, though, Fletcher. So
I think it's a great signing for Watford. I looked at his points as well. He got 110 points. I know he had his 6 game ban last season as well. So I think he's definitely a viable option at 6.5.
Yeah. Again, I find myself agreeing with you. I'm a fan of his, and I think I think he could do very, very well at Watford. And at that price, it would give you money to spend elsewhere, and I think he's a third option. Yeah, he's a great shout, and I'd love to see him going out with your sister.
On a Saturday afternoon, Deeney and Gray up top. Those centre halves are not going to have any
handful.
Yeah.
Imagine Christmas dinner with Andre Gray the other side of the table. With Christmas hat on.
If he's hitting me at brace, I'll be pulling a chair out for him. That's not a problem.
Can I just run one by you for that third striker option? Because I was going to have him until obviously Defoe. What do you think of King now? Do you think he's going to be playing deeper again? Because I know he caused you a lot of pain last year, Fletch, didn't he?
He did, yeah. I think he'll play in the hole. But like I said previously, I think you just pay 0.5 and get Defoe, wouldn't you? Surely Defoe's on pens. I just think King's not a viable option now. Now he's a forward, personally.
Yeah, you think he's totally gone, even though he had a phenomenal end to the season, didn't he, last year?
Yeah, he did. Maybe one to monitor, but for me, bad taste in my mouth, I think.
What's your thoughts on these Southampton boys then? Because their fixtures just look so tasty. If Gabbiadini or Austin hit the ground running, I know it's a hard one because you just don't know out of them 2 who's going to get the most minutes. But whoever plays probably takes pens as well. Would you be punting on either of those boys?
Well, I was looking at Tadic a few weeks ago. He's evaporated from my side now. But Gabbiadini, he really let me down last season. He's a real viable option. I just worry about that Austin rotation. I know you mentioned Austin there. You would think Gabbiadini's starting, but you could put him in. He could come off on 60. Austin could score 1, and then Austin could start next home game.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's just too much of a grey area there for me as to who will actually put the 60 minutes or more in. Yeah. And so because of that, I'll just be steering clear of him. Because I actually think, with only having 7 to select from your first 2 strikers, I actually think getting your third striker right this year could be the key to picking up the most points up top. I think the third striker is the most important one this year.
Yeah.
Right, let's get some info out of you then. Who's your third striker? The deadline's tomorrow night. Who's in your side currently?
Fletch?
Don't speak at once.
No,
I'll tell you what, I'll pose it to Fletchy first of all, boy. Have you got a mid-price striker in there in your front line?
Yeah,
yes,
I've got a solid third striker. I mentioned him a couple of weeks ago, and don't think you'd even heard of the boy. It's that Mooney or Mornay for Huddersfield. 6 mil.
They ain't gonna score. They're not going to score goals, are they? They're going to get battered every week. What do you want him in there for?
Well, they're playing Newcastle in the second week, so who knows? But yeah, I think the fixtures are good. He's scoring in pre-season. I love a differential punt. Yeah, he's my third striker currently. 6 mil. I'm willing to give him a go.
I am definitely going to be having a go at Iniacho, but not for the first week because I don't like the fixture at Arsenal.
Sensible.
Sorry?
I said sensible decision.
All right, yeah. So I actually like the Andre Gray option for the first fixture.
If Andre Gray hits the ground running, you just leave it, would you? And look at Iniacho at a later date? Or is he a transfer you'd definitely then make in game week 2?
Of course, a lot would depend on the Arsenal fixture, but I think unless Andre gets me a brace, yeah, I think I'd revert to Iniacho on fixture on week 2.
Yeah, Andre Gray. Be interested to see if he can get pens off Deeney as well. Because if he gets pens off Deeney off at 6'5", yeah, he looks nice, doesn't he? But interested to see. I mean, Hull did all right, didn't they? When the boy came in there. They did start scoring goals, so if he could bring that over to Watford, maybe. I don't think their fixtures are that bad, but they're certainly not outstanding either. So I can understand the price where you're going with it.
What do either of you two think as a third option? And we all know he's got obvious injury concerns in the course of a season, but Sturridge at 8 million is in that bracket.
Oof, I think Liverpool in general. I'll tell you what, let's go on to that question because someone has asked, obviously, with Coutinho being heavily linked now to Barcelona, and how does that affect Liverpool assets? So maybe we could just answer that question as a whole. I mean, I'll give my view on it initially if you want. I mean, Coutinho was my Liverpool cover. Early on in the season, he just looked fit, he looked sharp, and he obviously is still fit and sharp, but I just think these reports are not going to go away. The money is just going to increase, and eventually he's going to get sold. That's my view on it. I think it's going to disrupt the play initially from Liverpool because he's an absolute genius in there with the ball, and he threads passes that I don't think anyone else in that Liverpool side are capable of. Now, I know when they had a spell with no Coutinho, the man that stepped up was Mane, and he was producing the goods, taking games by the scruff of the neck. I don't see Sturridge doing that regularly enough. I see him maybe starting every now and then. I see Klopp using him tactically. I see him using him maybe off the bench. He maybe use him from the start, but it's going to be unpredictable where he does use him. He prefers Firmino up there more of as a false 9. And for me, Sturridge at 8 mil, I think he falls into that bracket where I think there'd have to be an injury to Firmino in order for Sturridge to become a viable option. And I think at that point, you'd then start looking at Sturridge thinking, okay, he's going to get the minutes. Because if he gets the minutes, he gets the points. But the big question mark is, will he actually get the minutes? Probably not enough. Mane's my man. Mane's currently in my side. I know a lot of people have talked about Salah at 9 mil. I just love the fact Mane's proven. And I think he'll relish in there with Coutinho moving away. I think Mane will think, right, I need to take games. And I think that's a type of man you want in your fantasy team.
Yes, definitely. Well, I said Salah a couple of weeks ago, and I've obviously been tinkering with my squad as well, and I've got 0.5 left over, and I'm considering that switch myself, Salah to Mane. I just think Mane's more capable of hitting, braces than Salah. I could be wrong, but it just looks better on paper for me, just having Mane in there. But it's not. I
think they're both going to produce, aren't they? They're both going to be dangerous.
Well,
I personally, and I will reveal this one, I am going Salah. He is nailed on for me.
Okay.
So I will be going.
No disclaimer in there. If you wake up tomorrow.
No. He's definitely in because I think it's one of those where, if he doesn't produce for 1 or 2 weeks, it's a very easy transition or swap, isn't it, to Mane? Yeah. It's an easy one to do. And interestingly, I agree with what you said about Sturridge, but he didn't get mentioned a little while ago on the third striker option. But Firmino, what a third striker option!
Especially if he's nicked pens now. Obviously, he took the pen in pre-season. Milner apparently said, "Yep, go for it." If he's now on penalties, his appeal's gone back up again. I think his appeal initially dropped, didn't it, being reclassified as a striker. If he gets pens, I think he's back up there again. 8.5, yes, and it's a nice price. I think if he's 8 mil, he's nailed on in a lot of sides. I think 8.5 maybe just makes people think, oh, go another 0.5 and get Salah. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Firmino anywhere near your side, Fletchy?
No, I've seen him in a lot of templates I've seen on Twitter. A lot of drafts. That third striker, I've seen him. I've seen him in there. I've currently got Milner in my side. I believe he's on pens all day long. He also played in the midfield area in the last friendly because they're short in there now, obviously. So I think Milner for the first couple of weeks, and then obviously our boy Trippier's injured. So that's a transfer I'm probably going to plan ahead, maybe game week 3 or 4, take out Milner for Trippier, free up $1 million. But if Milner hits the ground running, then it's the same sort of thing, you know. He could stay long term for me.
Milner and Mane as it stands, then, yeah.
Milner, Salah or Mane, yeah. I haven't made the Salah to Mane switch yet in my team, but there's a good chance that could happen tonight, to be fair.
Just going back to what you said, Yo-Yo, about the easy transition from Salah to Mane, I actually think it's the other way around. I actually think the transition is Mane to Salah. I actually think because I've then got 9.5 tied up in Mane, if he flops, it's an easy downgrade. But if I'm at my maximum budget, 100 mil, or are you thinking leave $500,000 in the bank and go and start with Salah?
Well, I've currently got $1 million sitting in the bank. I always like to leave myself at least half or $1 million always if I can, because it makes no sense to tie yourself down to every penny gone because you really cut down your options too much. So I will have $1 million left sitting there to be able to make any changes.
That's fair enough then. Okay, so next question then. This puts you on the spot a little bit. Let's see how well you know your sides and the price brackets, because a question that came in, which was from your mate Fletchy, Alex. What's his surname?
Stables.
That's the boy, Mr. Stables. He asked 5 mil, 5.5, 6 mil. That bracket of midfielders, so not budget. Obviously, we know a lot of 4.5 options there. What 5 to 6 million pound midfielders do you currently have in your side?
6 mil midfielder nailed in my side is Matt Ritchie on penalties.
Newcastle boy.
On penalties, on free kicks, on corners. I think he's nailed on now. He's played the last 2 friendlies. Obviously, you're the Newcastle fan, so what's your thoughts on Ritchie?
I agree with everything you said regarding set pieces. He didn't produce that much for Bournemouth when he had the season in the Prem. I think a lot of people were expecting a lot from him then, and he didn't produce. I think he's a better player now. I think he's had a good season last season. He'll be confident off the back of that. He's had an indifferent pre-season, although he has, he's looking fit and looking like he's going to start the first game. Is he one that you would rotate, or would you be playing him every week?
No, I'm playing him every week, at least for the first 6 to 7. But obviously, I might be playing an early wildcard. That's my initial plan. But if things go well, then I might cancel it. But I'm looking at a wildcard game week 4 to 5 when the likes of Sanchez, Hazard's back, and hopefully picking up some value. But are you picking a side just purely for those fixtures then? So when you're picking your initial draft, are you just looking at them first 4 fixture game weeks? I've got some real differential punts that have got nice early fixtures. I've got Ritchie, I've got this Huddersfield striker. I've also got another differential punt, which I'm not going to declare my whole side, but I think could be worthy. So we'll see how it goes.
I don't know if that's a tactic that ever works. Planning wildcards. I mean, you've won the league last year, and I think you're setting yourself up to potentially fall early.
Makes you wonder how.
I'm very pleased about it. Very pleased.
Yeah. Well, you used early wildcard last season, and
but that didn't work out, did it?
Yeah, but I'm a bad manager, so hopefully I can use the value more than you did. And I think, Yo-Yo, you had incredible team value.
It's something I try to implement every year. I will make some transfers early on based on who will improve the value of my squad, because I think running into the end of the season is vitally important.
Yeah, that could be an option for me. Just more transfers than normal then, if I do want to save the wild card option. But game week 1, madness happens, and who knows what we're going to do game week 2. I mean, this game can throw up a lot of things, so be very, very interesting.
Yeah, that actually brings us into a really good question. A bloke called Firetog wrote on there. He was basically, I think he said he's new to the FPL, it's his first season or something like that, and he was looking at these price rises and price falls, and basically he was saying that he saw that it was a maximum of 0.2 that they can rise in a game week. Just to give him a bit of info and everyone else that's not aware, it's 0.3 that is the maximum movement in any one game week. So as you touched on, Yo-Yo, there's then that price rise can obviously severely damage your squad if you've got players that are on the the side of maximum transfers out. So obviously the more transfers out they get, their price just tumbles. It will only tumble by 0.3 in any one game week, and obviously it will go the other way as well. If someone's getting a lot of transfers in, they're going to rise by a maximum of 0.3 in a game week. So it's something particularly early doors that you just have to be aware of. I'm sure most people are anyway, but as you touched on, Fletch, I think that's where you're coming from, isn't it? That basically you're looking to maximize all of that price value by using an early wild card, get as many of them rises in as you can, and just hopefully get your team value to skyrocket.
Yeah, that's basically the tactic. I think obviously, did he say the algorithms changed in the last few seasons?
Yeah, I mean, it does fluctuate. I don't think there's been any talk about it being different to last season, though.
Right, okay.
So I think we can expect it to be the same as last year, which was a maximum of 0.3 swing, which is a decent cap. But then 0.3 swings was sometimes so aggressive, weren't they?
They were.
As soon as the deadline closed from the previous game week, people were making instant transfers for the following game week before a board being kicked in the current game week to try and avoid those price drops or jump on the bandwagons.
Well,
well, that was a tactic of mine. I was in there doing exactly that, and it can pay off. But if you do it early, there's the obvious problems with that between then and say the Friday night, the player picks up injuries, but as long as there's an element of luck about that, and as long as that pays off, if you really want to push value of squad, that is the way to go.
Just another topic I want to bring up just before you bring in the next question is obviously about my Kane thoughts and the Wembley thoughts, and I've took a fair bit of abuse from certain individuals, and I think Yo-Yo, just from chatting off air, you agree with me about Spurs, Kane, Wembley?
Yet again, third time tonight already. I'm agreeing with you. I took quite a bit of abuse even last night.
Right, okay.
Because I have made it quite clear I'm avoiding them like the plague. I don't see them being the Spurs that we've seen for the last 2 seasons, and I think Harry Kane could drop quite a lot this season. Yeah. For the Wembley factor being one of the main reasons.
Yeah,
every team going there is going to raise their game for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Harry Kane's in my side. He's actually my captain at the moment, and I just trust him. I trust him with 90 minutes. I trust him that he's on pens. I trust him that he's started so badly the last 2 years. I think he's looking at it. Last season, 29 goals. He didn't even start for the first 5-6 game weeks. I think he'll be looking for a record goals haul this season. And yes, he's expensive, but with how average Lukaku looked in that Super Cup, I don't trust Lukaku with the armband, and as a result, I want someone in there that I can captain. So Kane is my man. Kane's in. Kane's nailed on for me. I'd have to get some news, overnight or tomorrow morning that there was some maybe injury doubt to put me off him. He's definitely going to be in my side, I think. And I think he's a must. He's one of them that he's easy to manoeuvre away from. If he looks terrible in the first 2 game weeks, I'll downgrade him. But I think a lot of people are going to struggle to get him in when he hits a brace against us, which he inevitably will do in the first game week.
Yeah, it'd be very, very interesting. He's one to monitor for me at 12.5. Yeah, he's not been in my consideration, but he's always capable, of course.
Let's get some nailed on players in your squad. Let's get into the nitty gritty. We know the deadline's tomorrow night. Fletchy, what Spurs players you got nailed on in there then?
There's no one nailed on right now. I've got Ali currently in my side, but I wouldn't say he's completely nailed on with 24 hours to go.
Is that just a nerve? Is that just a nervous thing having Ali? If you're so adamant that maybe Spurs are going to be poor this season and Kane's going to be poor, are you just nervously putting Ali in? Like, I'll just put a little bit on Spurs just to see if they do come off. Well, like, rather than being brave enough to go right, no Spurs.
Yeah. You're probably right. It's not like there's a real cheap option now. Like Son obviously played well last season. He's injured or not about. There's it's Eriksen, Ali, or pay $3 million for Kane, or go without. Obviously, I've said I don't want Kane, so it's either Ali or Eriksen, or I watch Spurs games behind the sofa. I'm still tinkering, but Ali's been in my side for like last 2 weeks, so there's a good chance he could stay because.
If there's no Harry Kane in there, then let's get your front three. What's your current front three going into tomorrow night?
It's Jesus, of course, my love for Jesus, and then excuse the pun, Lukaku, and obviously the Huddersfield striker.
Okay, I see. So you're looking at a 3-5-2, are you? Or
that's a bit disrespectful for the Huddersfield striker, isn't it?
You're not playing him, are you?
Of course I'm playing. I'm playing him at Palace. Of course I am. Tight pitch. Yeah, could be a brace there for the boy. I'd love people to join that wave. Any viewers looking for a differential punt, you'll be thanking me on Monday morning.
So you're approaching it 3-4-3, are you? And he's starting the season for you.
Yeah, that's the formation I always play. Don't really see it changing. So yeah, that's my front three. Yo-yo.
Yeah. I can only assume that's why you and me are always at the top, Fletch, because I'm very much the same as you. I think very much the same as you on Spurs. Ali is the only one who's currently in my starting lineup. For me, Ali and Lukaku are very similar in my thinking that I don't particularly want them, but I don't think I can avoid them because the fear that if they knock a brace in, everyone has gained too many points on me. So it's not that I particularly want them. I just don't think I can do without them. Yeah, and is my thinking on them too.
Yeah, and the difference is if Kane hits a brace, well, you pay 12.5 for that brace. That's my level of thinking.
Yeah. So anyway, in answer to your question, I've got two of the same front three as you. I've got Jesus and Lukaku. Okay. But I won't be captaining Lukaku like I think quite a few will. Okay. And my third option we've already discussed, but I will probably be going with Andre Gray. I'll be captain and a midfielder this week.
Oh, it's very punty. Early doors. Well, Kevin De Bruyne, I assume.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's in for a top year. He's not. He is first on my team sheet.
Going in with Jesus and KDB is very, very bold from you.
Yeah, it is. But I think Manchester City going forward this year, I think I could see them scoring hatfuls. And I think anybody who doesn't get on that in some form of cover with Man City will lose out a lot of points. I think they're going to score hatfuls.
Yeah.
You make me want to tear my draft up and get KDB in there. I tell you what, he's currently not in my team. I've only got Jesus for a Man City cover. I started
Whoa.
I was about to explain what you were about to say.
You were caning me about Jesus, and now he's in your side. I can't wait for this.
I think the main reason is that mill. It's that mill. Obviously, you're alluding to my comments at this, the start of this series of podcasts where I said that I wanted Aguero in there, and if they were the same price, if they were both 10.5, I'm going Aguero. I would do, but that extra mil, it goes a long way, doesn't it? When you're trying to fit all the cogs together and you're trying to get the puzzle fitting, you just can't justify that extra mil. I don't think. I think my order of priority would be Jesus. I would then look to get KDB in. Aguero would be my third priority, and you're obviously not going to have all three of them. I wouldn't have thought. I'm certainly not going to. I've also got Lukaku, which, as we said, in 2 video casts ago. He's a fear pick. I don't want him in there, if I'm honest. I've got no excitement about having him in there because everybody's going to have him in there, and he's just a safe pick. He's just basically to block everybody else. So if Lukaku does do the business, at least I've got him in there. I certainly won't be captaining him anytime soon unless he shows some real goal scoring form. Just wanted to conclude on the Kane point. I know what you're talking about, the money saved on the alley thing, but what Kane gives you is a captain choice. And okay, Yo-Yo, you're saying that you won't captain Lukaku. You're obviously not going to captain Gray. You're saying captain KDB. You're then looking at, potentially rotating a captaincy with a Jesus, are you? So you just keep your legs in that Man City basket, or would you captain Lukaku as well, I assume?
I would captain Lukaku, but I want to see a little bit more from United before I'm going to go down that road, because haven't been impressed really with what I've seen of United. In fact, everyone is saying about them being a title contender. I can't see what they're basing it on personally. They've got a tremendously big squad. So if it's going to be that they've got the strength in depth with being able to rotate the squad, I'd agree with that. But in terms of the quality of it, I don't see it, I'm afraid. I don't see how they're a title challenge. I think, their City neighbours are way, way ahead of them, personally, in my opinion. So, yes, I will be captaining him, but I want to see more from United before that takes place. I'll rotate the captain, but it's more than likely going to be a City captain for me most weeks, because I think there's more likely to be goals there on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think that City they're gonna score goals even in games they lose, aren't they? So you're always gonna see goal returns from them, and I think that Mourinho factor is always a worry in terms of captaincy. Is he going to approach the season looking to keep it tight, clean sheets, nick 1-0s? Very possibly. You just don't see City ever playing that way, do you? You just see them basically looking to play teams off the park, score goals, but they will concede. That. I just fear for the points getting shared around in City. They have to, don't they? There's going to be 4 or 5 contenders that come to the fore where the points are constantly getting shared around. The advantage with the United route, the Lukaku route, is if he scores, he's getting a 3-point bonus. We know he takes pens, and that way, people could argue that Lukaku route is a safe one. For me, it's not game week 1, but he will be the standout captain choice in game week 1 amongst the masses, I would imagine. Fletchy, where's your gut feeling going then for captain tomorrow night?
I'm looking at either Lukaku or Jesus. Just going back to Super Cup, I was not impressed by United whatsoever. I was looking to ship Lukaku at half-time, to be honest, out of my side. I thought he was shocking. Obviously, he missed a good chance, but Michael, good strikers, he scored again after that. So, it depends, if I'm looking to play it safe, then I'll captain him. If I feel brave at 6:44 tomorrow, then I'll stick
You're captaining Lukaku.
I'll stick it on Jesus. But just, I just want to have a little Pogba rant, because, chatting to United fans, some people saying he had a good season last season and all this. I'll tell you what, every time I've seen him, he's been shocking. £90 million. Yeah, he does a few little nice step overs, but I'm sorry, he's not good enough for me right now. Even as a fantasy option, not for me. As a central midfield player in the free, I'm not seeing a lot personally. Even I don't know if you two watched the game. In the first half, there was a 3-on-1 attack for United. Could have just laid someone in. So greedy. He's trying to shoot from 25 yards. Really, really not impressed with Pogba at the moment. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I'm agreeing with you yet again. Do you know what? I don't want to come on here again, because if I've got to keep agreeing with you when I'm on here, I'm not going to bother. But I can't. But I can only but agree with everything you've just said. Not for me. If he's 90 million, Liverpool have just turned down 90 million for Coutinho. I know who I'd have.
Yeah.
All day long.
Of course. What's your thoughts on that, Tomo?
Yeah, I was just going to explain, because I think that's why everyone's got Lukaku, because there is no other United option. You know, you look at City and you think, right, if I'm not going to punt on Jesus, I might have a go on Aguero, or I might have a go on KDB, and they're going to produce a consistent return. You don't see that from Pogba. You don't see it from Mkhitaryan or Martial or Rashford, really. So Lukaku just becomes an absolute must. And for that reason, that's why he's the highest owned player at over... He's high 40s, if not 50% of the game have got him. A lot will captain him. He's just too dangerous to not have. And as a result, are you really going to double up on Lukaku and Pogba, or Lukaku in any United attack? No, probably not. He's certainly not an alternative to Lukaku. So yeah, as a result, he's nowhere near my side. But I've seen a lot of drafts where they have gone the double up, and they've got Pogba and Lukaku, particularly with Matic now in there. I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, he's going to be then on edge of boxes and hitting screamers every week. But I think I agree with you, Flexi. I've seen too much hit and miss in front of goal. You know, he's not prolific enough.
Yeah,
I certainly would be looking at other options. I think. People probably could have worked it out for themselves. But my front three then is the big hit in front three, which I've seen a lot of people going with: Kane, Lukaku, and Jesus. So obviously a lot of money tied up there in the front three, but I think that's just the way that I feel. I've juggled it around, and that is the way that I'm happy going in there. I've got one big hitting midfielder, which is Mane, and then other than that, I'm looking at rotating budget midfielders with a big backline. As we touched on in the last video cast, these wing backs, you know, Alonso's of this world, Milner's of this world, you know, maybe even, you know, the new Arsenal boy left back, you know, Kolasinac, Kolasinac, whatever his name is.
What about
he's in my side.
What about Liam Rossini? Is he in your side, or?
I'll tell you what, I think that you touched on something, you know, quite reasonable there. Every single season I've had a 4 million defender. I start my squad with a 4 mil defender. This is the first season I'm going in without that option. I don't see anyone as a really viable 4 mil. And I think there's too many tasty options in the defence. It's a bizarre season where I'm looking in the defence, and that's where I'm having the most fun almost. Drafting my 11, because I'm seeing so many attacking returns potential with these defenders. You know, if you get 3 or 4 of them in your side, they could potentially be in my side all season.
I'd love to see your midfield, because with the money you've spent up top and the fact you're not going for any budget defenders, your midfield must be shocking.
I mean, it's a 5-2-3. It's a 5-2-3. I'm going to rotate them budget midfielders alongside Mane. That's the route I'm going.
Wow, I've gone very, very different. I've got 3 big hitters in midfield and 2 budget. My 3 big hitters in midfield now, I'll tell you, I've currently got KDB, Ali, and Salah. With 2 budget. One of my budgets, actually, I think is a decent punt, is Loftus-Cheek.
Well, when the news broke that he was 4-5, everyone just stuck him straight in their side, didn't they? But he's not really done anything, has he, in pre-season? And it's been, you know, okay, he is 4-5, but he's done nothing. Would you play him any of them game weeks, or is he just going to be a 3rd sub or a 2nd sub and just sit there and rot?
No, I think there's a chance, especially early doors, because I think Palace have got 1 or 2 decent fixtures. I think early doors I'll be playing him to see how it goes. Yeah, and let's face it, from where I caught up from last year, if I take a few punts this year and have to chase up again, then so be it. But I'll be going with him for the first few fixtures. Yeah.
And you're rotating him with another 4.5, are you? Because if you're going to play a 4.5 in Loftus-Cheek, you're leaving a bit of money on the bench, or?
Yeah, I'm undecided. I have got up to 5.5 to spend on another midfielder, and I am at this moment still got to tinker that before tomorrow night.
There's a disclaimer.
Yeah, well,
listen, I just can't wait for the deadline. I don't want to tinker anymore. You know, you just get to this point in the season where you just want that curtain to come down, don't you? And you just want to, right, that's it, no more tinkering. I can't look at it anymore. You know, that's what you want now.
Well, I had 1 player to go, and I thought, well, I'll try auto pick, see what it suggests for me, and it gave me McLean. So I'll be deciding myself before tomorrow night.
You watched McLean hit a brace first game of the week now, first game week.
Yeah.
Fletchy, any final thoughts, mate, before we sign off and get ready for the start of the season?
Just to touch on Loftus-Cheek, yeah, he's now gone from my side. I've put Carroll in there. The way I've set up, Carroll won't play for me within the first 4 to 5 weeks, probably till wild card. I've got Richie, and I've got another budget differential punt, which I'm not going to mention because I think he's worthy. And I think I've given enough away tonight. But yeah, buzzing for the season. Please subscribe to the podcast. Please tell your friends again. Please like any comments. We'd love to hear them, especially about Yo-Yo and his performance. But no, I'm absolutely buzzing for the season. Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks very much, Yo-Yo. Very, very good to have you on. Nice to see a little insight in your team for tomorrow night. In fact, to be honest, you took the disclaimers down, didn't you, towards the end of the podcast? So
it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm not going to say I weren't a little bit nervous to start with, but yeah, it's been good. Thanks for having me on here, and yeah, best of luck to everybody for the coming season.
Good stuff.
So I hope you both crash and burn start of the season. I'll be back now onto the website, tinkering yet again for another 23 hours now, basically, until the deadline. So cannot wait. And we will be back next week. We're going to do one podcast or one video cast every single week. And obviously we'll have a similar structure then once the season actually starts. We'll be looking at the game week that's just happened and looking ahead to the one. And obviously we always want questions. So we've had a great response from people posting questions. And to be honest, it's really given us some interesting points of view, different points of view. Some people agreeing with us, some people definitely not. And it's why the game's so interesting. So make sure you keep posting questions. Fletchy's absolutely right. Subscribe to the channel. And we will see you around Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So subscribe and you will get the link to the new video next week. Thanks very much for watching. It's good night from us.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. See you later.